Hello, everyone, and welcome to 3-Minute Warning.
Show where we take 5 of the hottest topics in sports and break them down into 3 minutes or less. My name is Michael Medina. With me, as always, my good old pal, David Griffin.
And we're also joined by AJ Lawrence. Say hello, AJ.
Hello.
And we're also joined by Steven Fox, our producer up in the booth, making it happen. Say hello, Steven.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys?
So you get going right away right now. Talk about some NBA playoff action still going on this weekend. It is large and in charge. Some very exciting games. Some conclusions to some series.
A lot of teams moving on.
AJ, tell us about what's going on in the NBA right now.
Well, we kind of expected things to really have a good ending and in conclusion, but it wasn't so much the case. We had shutout collapses from Dallas, and we also had that from the Chicago Bulls, and then we had the Spurs kind of just collapse entirely. So it was a really wild and fun weekend. But to get things started, let's talk a little bit about Houston and Dallas. We thought, the Mavericks were down and out and that there was nothing they could do to revive themselves, especially after Rondo had to make his way out. But we saw them come back last night, and they did pretty good. What do you guys think is going to happen in terms of this matchup in Texas?
First of all, AJ, I'm sure you probably agree with me on this. Based on what the Mavericks looked like yesterday, this was kind of the series I think we hoped we would have seen from game one, They look good. Tyson Chandler looked like he was at least 10 years younger in that game, I mean, Dwight Howard looked great to start off that game. Monta Ellis looked amazing. I mean, that team was just moving. They looked fantastic. Where was this team this whole series?
I was going to say, the series, it's interesting because Dallas is tough. They're battle hardened. They've won a championship before. Dirk has a title already, but they are older. And also they were down 3-0. So I mean the chances of them coming back are very, very slim. But it's good to see them still have some fight and now move the series to 3-1. At least giving themselves an opportunity to keep fighting.
I don't think the outcome's going to change.
No.
I think Houston's going to still advance. It's just a matter of them. But good for them. It was a good effort.
I mean, same. Let's move down to the Chicago Bulls. Same thing with Chicago Bulls. Great play at the end. Awesome play, great seeing play. Derrick Rose even kind of admitted defeat, being like, "Look, that was my bad." It was a great set play, great coaching. Bucks are a young team. I think they have talent ahead of them, but again, Chicago is going to win.
They were pumped. They were excited to be there.
They're home too.
Yeah. Although I'd like to know why they acted like they were celebrating winning the NBA Finals after winning that game. That might have been a little too much.
Lots of jubilation.
Nonetheless, I mean, they came to play.
It was a good matchup. Looking at the Clippers Spurs, AJ, that's probably the most exciting series going on right now. A lot of back and forth. Series is tied at 2-2. LA is coming back on Tuesday to face the Spurs out. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that series?
Well, the whole Game 4 wasn't exactly what we anticipated at all. And, I think the reality is that the Clippers really just stepped up their game, especially Austin Rivers. It's kind of his first time being out there, and he had, 16 points, just working really well with his teammates, and they really brought that up. And then the Spurs just were not performing to their peak level as would be expected. But, I kind of think that this also is one of those series where we knew that there would be a fight.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy. I mean, Kawhi Leonard named NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. Well-deserved. Just had a great. Even this last game that they lost, he was still having a great game. Blake Griffin and Chris Paul are having great games every single time. So it's a great series so far. The most exciting series.
And real quick, Kevin Love gone. I believe about 2 weeks. Dislocated his shoulder. I mean, this is gonna be interesting. I think Cleveland still has enough firepower, but losing him is not gonna make things easier.
No, Kevin Love out, great player. We gotta talk about next subject. Got to move on. Got to keep going. We got the NHL Playoffs going on right now in full effect. Probably not getting as much attention as maybe it deserves. So there are some exciting things going on there. NBA is taking a lot of it. Got the NFL draft coming. We got Pacquiao and Mayweather this weekend. So a lot of other things going on right now in the world. But one of Michael's teams, the Chicago Blackhawks, are going through. They have made it through.
Rightfully so.
Going to the next round. Going to play the Minnesota Wild.
Minnesota.
So how are your boys doing there? What do you think about your boys?
I mean, this was an interesting series against Nashville. It was a little up and down. One, I believe, was 4-2. No, it was good, but a little inconsistent at times. So that always makes me a little nervous. But, I mean, again, this is a team that's been there before. They've won. They know what they're doing. They know that, when it comes to the postseason, it's an entirely different season. Sometimes, you're going to have your off games. You're going to be at other games when you're on top. As long as you find ways to win at the end, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, that's what matters. I mean, NHL playoffs are great because you just never know. The matchups are always so diverse. And just because you're an AC doesn't mean you can't win. I mean, the smaller seeds have a better chance as opposed to like NBA where it's almost
You
not
talk all the time about home ice not really being that much of an advantage, so it's pretty level playing field.
AJ, Canadians defeat Ottawa. Very thrilling Game 7. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was an extremely, extremely exciting game, even down to the last minute as we saw that last goal go in. But Carey Price, incredible performance. He blocked 43 shots, and he really, really brought in the magic. And everyone kind of knew that the Canadians would make it, but Ottawa just really seemed to have some kind of pull, and they were fighting for it, and they really did fight for the last second. But, of course, that no goal wasn't all that much of a good memory for them. But, hey, you know, somebody's got to move on.
I love goalies. It's probably my favorite position in hockey. I think of, back, Buffalo was good. We had Dominic Hasek before he went to Detroit and won the Stanley Cup. I just love goalies. We had Ryan Miller from Michigan State, who was very good for Buffalo. Also did very well in the Olympics, Winter Olympics. It's probably the coolest position, like with the gear. And those guys are so flexible.
Yeah.
Like when somebody here has 40+ saves, that's just, how those guys move and
when
bend
you see them
and all
like
that
full
gear.
splits and try to save stuff, those guys,
Those guys are, we also have, tonight we have a Game 7 going on, which is going to be exciting. We have the Islanders and the Capitals. Islanders and Capitals. Game 7, which of course in the early round of the playoffs is always exciting. Can go either way. So I think this is going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, I don't think the Rangers are going to be worried, though. I think, right now they're looking good. Unless, we'll see. I mean, this is one of those teams. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals last year.
Yeah.
They, had good for them. They did their thing. This year, President's Trophy.
They'll still be the favorites.
An amazing season that they've
Right.
had. They'll be the favorites, but nonetheless, that's the thing. It's postseason sports in any sport. It's just always so exciting.
Yeah.
You never really know what's going to happen.
Everybody's already amped. Everybody's already ready to be there. So be sure to tune into that. We got NBA playoffs going on right now. We got a lot of big things going on. Make sure you check out some hockey. Give hockey some love. It's a good sport. It's not just for Canadians. It's a fun sport. So we're going to keep rolling now. We have a few seconds left. We're going to roll to the next topic, talking about the Major League Baseball. A lot of great things going on in Major League Baseball as well. Got the Subway Series going on right now. Mets are seeming as, their streak is over. They won up to 11 games?
Yeah.
But the streak is over, but they're still playing well. They haven't lost their fire.
This is an interesting team. Right now, I'd have to say the NL East is an interesting division this year. Last year, the Nationals pretty much ran away with the division. And for the most part, most people, including myself, thought they would do it again this year. They, came back with a stronger pitching rotation, but they've been struggling. Meanwhile, the Mets have just been tearing it up. I don't know where this is coming from, but they've just been getting it done. They're looking great, playing great baseball. Honestly, sorry, Mets fans, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think they're built to last, but it shows the potential this team has for the future, and I think this team is going to be really good for years to come. Looking
at New York, not the Mets, looking at the Yankees. A-Rod, bad rap, always got a bad rep. Poor A-Rod, no one seems to like him anymore. No. He, unless you're a Yankees fan, 1 home run away, 659 home runs from being away from tying Willie Mays' record, which he gets a $6 million bonus that's in his contract, which is a little ridiculous. But, hey, that's a lot of home runs. You deserve maybe a little bonus when you do that. AJ, do you think A-Rod's reputation, is it going to be forever tarnished? Because is he ever going to find the love and adoration that he desires?
Unfortunately not. I think no matter what A-Rod does, he's always going to kind of be that leper, unfortunately, in the baseball world, and not a lot of people are going to want to see him surpass Willie Mays' record. And then, for the first time, the New York Yankees actually acknowledged what Rodriguez was doing out there on the field in terms of home runs with a tweet the other night. And the thing is, it becomes an issue of if they don't want to give that acknowledgement, are they going to pay him the $6 million, and are we going to end up back in court? And will there be more drama that continues with this A-Rod saga? We don't know, but. It's congratulations to him for all the hard work he's done, but at the same time, we do have to recognize that he kind of didn't do it the fairest way.
Yeah. Well, the thing about A-Rod, I don't know of a single person, unless you're a Yankee fan, that likes this guy. You look at guys like Sammy Sosa, look at Mark McGwire. These guys were busted. They got caught. Nonetheless, though, they were pretty likable. People didn't really, now unless you're like Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, that were just known for not being the sweetest people out there, people don't want to root for you. So why should they applaud that, you're 1 home run away from tying Willie Mays? People love Willie Mays. Willie Mays is an all-time great. My whole issue with the whole steroid era and all this stuff is the fact that I love the fact that when I look at Hank Aaron, I love knowing that, okay, this home run king, hits king, these are records that mean a lot to me. So I'd like there to be an undisputed champion, an undisputed king. I don't want someone to have that record with an asterisk next to the name. I don't want that, but that's what we're always going to have from here on out because like you said, AJ, with A-Rod, he's never going to live this down. It's going to stick with him forever because of the fact that nobody likes him. He's not likable.
Do you think A-Rod will ever get in the Hall of Fame? Is there a chance?
I don't see that happening. If Barry Bonds, Sosa, McGuire haven't done it, there's no way he's going to make it.
Poor
I'd
A-Rod.
be shocked.
Poor A-Rod. Just not happening for him.
It's not going to happen.
What do you think? Is there any love for A-Rod? Do you like A-Rod? Do you hate A-Rod? Hashtag 3MW here at the stream.tv. Let us know your thoughts on that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about A-Rod. I don't mind the guy, but anyway, we're gonna go on to the next subject. We're gonna go on some NFL. Almost some NFL prospects. We got the draft coming up in Chicago, starting Thursday night, all through the weekend. It's a huge deal. It's like a holiday weekend. I mean, it's always huge when the draft comes on. Now, first time in Chicago, doing a lot of decorations over in Chicago. Not going to be in New York City right now, so it's going to be big. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, of course, the top two draft. They're not even going to be there. Jameis is going to be at home with his family. Of course, he's getting a lot of crap for that. Mariota's going to be in Hawaii with his family. Everybody praises him for that.
Showcase his hometown.
Oh yeah, but Jameis, his grandma's like diabetic, and no, you should be at the draft. It's like, come on, man. He's got a diabetic grandma. Well, let's stay home. Let's lay off him. But we're going to talk specifically today about problems with drugs, with these young guys getting busted. Two of them. One is from LSU, a cornerback, Collins. He is, a very talented player, but at the same time, multiple failures on drug testing. Kind of undisclosed. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. Could be, could be marijuana or drugs. Could be. I don't think it's performance-enhancing drugs, but I mean, it's busted basically. Yeah. And does this hurt his draft stock? How is this going to affect his draft stock?
Given the fact that he's failed it multiple times, I would have to imagine that it's going to hurt him severely. If this was like maybe a first-time offense, you could look past it. But, I mean, this just shows you his track record. And just, imagine him getting drafted, having a little bit of money in his pocket and all that stuff. You have to assume, I'd hope not, but you have to assume that he's going to fall back into that again at some point.
Yeah, and you look at Nebraska's Randy Gregory as well. He's having issues, another failed drug test. What's interesting to him, though, is his draft stock. He is being looked at by New Orleans Saints, rumored to maybe get. New Orleans Saints have 2 first-round draft picks now because of the trade. The tight end, I always forget his name. What's his name? Yeah, Graham. Yeah. Graham to Seattle. So they have a 31st draft pick in the first round. So that's a good spot for him, possibly. But again, more controversy, more failed drug tests, more issues. So AJ, how does this affect? Because let's look. We talk about Jameis a lot. Jameis has at least seemed to be rehabilitating himself. You see him talking to Coach Harbaugh. You see him talking to other coaches, getting advice. He's starting to say the right things. Are these guys going to be affected by their drug test?
Well, the thing is, with these drug tests, they automatically start in the NFL Stage 1 substance abuse program. So that's going to be a kind of hurdle and process they need to go through. But then also it's the question of, you knew that this test was coming. Why didn't you just stay clean around it? So it's also kind of a common sense, can they follow instructions or at least do the right thing for themselves? It'll translate into, can they do the right thing for their team? So I think there's a lot of factors that go into this, but I don't necessarily think that this is something that will harm them too much for draft prospects. We saw with Warren Sapp, who ended up dropping to number 12 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, although he had allegedly failed numerous drug tests. So who knows how things are going to turn out, but I think that they'll probably still stay within the first round. We'll see.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're going to stay. I think
so.
It's a mark, but it's not one that's going to damage your draft.
It's all about talent. It's what they need.
Them. So we're going to go on to our last topic, talk about some soccer. Big weekend in the British Premier League. Michael and I were at our local English pub yesterday watching Chelsea versus Arsenal. Chelsea is still top of the league. We're top of the league. One of my favorite players, Chelsea's players, Eden Hazard, Belgian player, excellent, talented, can score, can pass. Just a great player all around. Thankfully, he signed a 5-year contract extension with Chelsea. There's a lot of rumors. He's very young. A lot of rumors of him leaving to go to Paris. Maybe I don't want to see that happen.
Or something.
Player of the year.
Yeah.
It's not the Ballon d'Or, which is the big one, the gold one that Cristiano and Messi win every year. But this is still Player of the Year, still a great award. Definitely the best player, I think, in the British Premier League in terms of consistency. We have a lot of good scorers this year. Of course, Alexis Sanchez had a great year scoring. Diego Costas had a good year.
My pick.
Yeah, Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez.
But that's just me.
Sergio Aguero, also an excellent year with scoring. But I think all around talent, the guy who is the most valuable player, which actually that's kind of cool that he won because I think he makes the team better, not just because he scores the most points. not the points champion.
I agree with
the
you.
Golden Boot.
We were talking a little bit about this before the show, and he's an amazing talent and well deserved. Hats off to him. My only issue is playing for a team like Chelsea and Jose Mourinho's his tactics. He's known for playing boring football. That's
Especially
just what he does.
yesterday,
He slows down.
yeah,
He
especially
parks the bus.
yesterday.
Oh, yesterday was one of the boringest games.
Yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan. I was
we've
bored.
ever
I'm sitting there
seen.
like, come
But
on.
it's a little frustrating when you have someone as talented as Hazard, and you can't really unleash him because you play so conservatively. So like maybe the start of the season they were hot, they were doing what they had to do just to get in the position to where they're at right now. But now that they're there, all he wants to do is hold it. And I get that, it works. But when you have these talents, just imagine having a player like Hazard and just like I said, just letting him go, letting him do his thing. Just imagine like how many more goals, how much more he could do. It's just a shame. It's tough.
Hey, Jay, I want to ask you your opinion, just because I know you study NFL. A lot of talk about head injuries. It was a very violent hit yesterday. It wasn't intentional, but the goalie collided with Oscar, who's one of our Chelsea's really good players. And it was a really bad head injury. He fell down. He was out for a while. You could see he was out. Like, he was physically out for a while. They had to pick him up. They brought him back to the sidelines and then brought him back on. NFL is very strict about that now. When you get hit like that hard in the head, you have to come off. Like the Chelsea player did, but typically you don't always go back in because they're so risky. I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but with boxing, I always say UFC is safer than boxing because with boxing, guys get knocked down, they have the opportunity to come back up again. Whereas UFC, if you get knocked down like that, they call the fight. Do you think soccer needs to work on their head injury cases?
Well, I know they have found some cases of CTE in soccer players, but the thing is, we're in a different culture here in the United States where we do have a lot of things governed by legal battles and those kind of issues. And I don't think that necessarily plays on the same level as it does with international. And since soccer has such a big international pool and following, and we have all of these different countries together, I don't think that they're probably going to move in the direction that the NFL has moved in.
Yeah.
So head
It's
injury,
such a physical sport too. So it's tough.
Yeah. Head injuries galore. Be safe out there. That was our show for today. Also, gotta say real fast, Bayern Munich has clinched their third Bundesliga title. I mean, in a row. That doesn't surprise me. They win every year. They're just that conference needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Good. Congratulations, Bayern Munich. This is 3-minute warning. Again, #3MW here at thestream.tv. Let us know what you think, your thoughts, concerns, all your questions. Let us know. As always, I'm David Griffin. You can find me on Twitter at GriffinDE.
And you can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and David and myself right here on thestream.tv on the Arrow After Show.
AJ, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @TheAJLawrence.
That was our show for today. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, here at thestream.tv on 3-minute warning. We look forward to talking to you again.